There are so many different reasons that people quit pumping, and in this video I want to address a couple of the common problems people have when they're pumping, specifically clogs, motivation, sore nipples, and it being too much work. In this video I am going to answer those 4 key pieces with tech tools that helped keep me going until I got all the way to 12 months of feeding my child exclusively breast milk. If you are new here, hello and welcome. My name is Jenny. I am a teacher, mom, doctoral student, and expecting baby number 2 sometime in July. And in this video, I really wanted to talk about some of the common pain points that people have when they're pumping and ways that you can actually address those right off the bat. For me personally, I never expected to be pumping exclusively, but my daughter being a NICU baby, I'll put her birth story up here if you're interested. Being a NICU baby, that's something I had to do, and I had to really adjust, and I wasn't really sure what I was doing. So I wanted to include some hacks that I found absolutely immeasurably useful. So let's get into it. The first problem and the primary problem that I encountered a ton was clogs. If you've ever had a clog, you know that it is very painful. If you've never had a clog before, I hope you never get a clog. Basically, a clog is when your ducts are inflamed essentially, and the milk that's in your breasts is not being expressed, which causes clogs. They almost feel like hard lumps in your breast when you have them. And I got them fairly frequently. So I wanted to show you 2 different tech tools, well, one tech tool and one hack that I learned about that made my clog situation so much better. The first one is sunflower lecithin. Sunflower lecithin essentially helps make your milk less sticky, so it's easier for it to actually come out. You can get the kind from Legendary Milk, that's the kind that I have here, but there's also a kind on Amazon that I used for my first pregnancy that works just fine. Sunflower lecithin was a game changer. I took it every single day. I took even more when I had clogs so that I was able to have milk that was a little bit thinner so that it was able to actually come through those ducts a little bit easier. I'm going to be starting day 1 using sunflower lecithin this time because now that this isn't my first rodeo, I know better, and I'm gonna definitely be taking this daily, even when I don't have clogs. Definitely recommend sunflower lecithin. The second item that I highly recommend if you are prone to clogs or you're worried about having clogs, or it's something that you might have once you have your baby, is this little beauty right here, which is the Lactation massagers. Now, the ones that I have are actually the ones that warm and massage at the same time. So basically what these are, and they're these little guys that look like this. They fit in your bra, and you can actually, since they're separate, you can wear just one if you need to, or you can wear both of them. A lot of people use them every time they pump. I didn't do that, but you can. But I used them every time I had a clog, which was often. It has 2 different settings for heat, and it also has 3 different vibration settings. So it has a different vibration setting. One is constant, this one's constant. Has a pulsing one. And then it has one that's just heat, no vibration at all. As far as the charge goes, I would say these are charged enough for 1 30-minute pump session, and then you kind of need to charge it again because the second time that you pump, you'll probably have them die on you halfway through your pumping, depending on how long your pump sessions are. But these massagers are incredible. I cannot recommend them enough. They are perfect for busting clogs. Now, if they're a little pricey for you, another hack that you can do is get some hot hands, wrap it in a cloth, and use like the back of a toothbrush or something else that vibrates on your breast while you are pumping. The second problem that I encountered, that I see a lot of people encounter as far as pumping goes, is motivation. Saying to yourself, I can't keep track of all this. I feel overwhelmed trying to make it to a year. There's no way. I'm only 3 weeks in and I'm already exhausted and tired of this, and just, I can't do it. So my suggestion for you is actually this handy app that if you have an Apple device, which is called PumpLog. I'm going to put a picture of some of the screenshots over here so you can see what PumpLog looks like. PumpLog is a handy little app, and basically what it does is it not only will allow you to set up reminders, let's say you forget pumping sessions, it'll set up reminders on your phone and tell you when it's time to pump. It also will let you track how much you pump so that you know when you can quit, essentially. So let's say you plan on duo feeding. You plan on feeding your baby half breast milk, half formula, because you either don't produce enough or you're just not wanting to get that far. You can actually tell PumpLog how long you want it to track for. So let's say your goal was 6 months. 6 months and you need 12 ounces of breast milk every day to have half. It will tell you exactly how many days you need to pump based on how much you are freezing, and you know how long you have until you can quit. So what I really like about Pump Log, I'm gonna show you here a screenshot of my countdown screen. My goal was to get to 12 months exclusively on breast milk. This was challenging, but what I did to start with was I started with 6 months first. I set 6 months, I set how much my daughter eats in a day, which will change of course, so you need to keep that in mind as well. And then I put in there how many times I put milk into a stash, into my freezer, and also what I had left over for the day. And it will calculate exactly how many days you have left until you can stop pumping. So for me, this was a huge motivator. It told me, you know what, I'm not gonna have to pump every single day, 7 times a day until 12 months. It gave me a goal, a measurable goal. And I really like Pump Log for that. It's a really, really good app. If you have an Apple device, I highly recommend it. The third common problem that I hear a lot about is sore nipples. I had serious issues with this early on, and I wanted to tell you my favorite thing that I found actually helped sore nipples. There's a lot of stuff that will help. People will say lanolin, which does sometimes help, but those early days when you're just, every time you turn on the pump, you just kind of, you cringe a little bit to start with. I really recommend these Medela Tender Care Hydrogels. These things are incredible. They're so soothing. I'm going to take some to the hospital with me because I don't think I could have made it pumping without it, because it is uncomfortable and you will want to quit because it hurts. So this is a really good way to deal with that. Now obviously a lot of people will tell you pumping shouldn't hurt, and it shouldn't, but sometimes it does. So this is a really good, they're expensive, but this is a really, really good thing to put on your nipples to make them feel a little bit better. The last comment I see a lot about pumping and people who quit early is that it's just too much work. It is. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of dedication, but one thing I want to tell you is there are some hacks you can use to make your life just a little bit easier. So here's a couple of the ones that I found that work really well for me personally. Hack number 1 for it being too much work is I actually have a mini fridge. I'll put a picture of the one I have right here, right next to my bedside. So basically when I do that middle of the night pump, instead of having to deal with walking all the way downstairs or to the kitchen to put bottles in the fridge, I stick them straight in that little mini fridge right there next to me, and I don't have to deal with them until the morning. That helped me a lot because it let me get back to sleep faster. So for me, sleep is sacred for me and I need my sleep. So being able to have that little mini fridge there was such a absolute necessity for me. I know it seems silly, but having a mini fridge on your nightstand is a big, big help. Especially too, if you're feeding that breast milk as well, you can keep it in the fridge, and then that middle of the night feed that you have to do, pull the bottle out of there too. So it has multi-purposes. The second thing that helped me deal with the fact that pumping was a lot of work is having ways to actually pump while I'm doing other things. So for me, my first pregnancy, I used the Freebie cups a ton. I used them with both of my different pumps. I had them for the Spectra and the Medela that I had. I rented the Medela Symphony from the hospital, and those made life so much easier. I could actually pump and be able to do other things as well. I could type on a computer, for example, which I had a hard time doing when I had the bottles actually sticking out from my bra. So I definitely recommend getting something hands-free. Here's my big hack for you though. Are you ready for this? Spectra, if you have a Spectra pump, has their own cups. And it's gonna sound crazy, but you can actually order them from Korea for $30, which is a lot cheaper than the Freebie cups. So I highly recommend you go on, let me see, what's the name of the website? QOO100.com, which sounds sketchy, I know, but believe me, I already did it and I ordered it and it's here. It actually arrived. I'll put the link over here for the website, but if you look up Spectra cups, you can get them for like $30, and it is so much cheaper than the Freebie cups. You could probably get 2 sets of these for the cost of 1 Freebie cup. Nothing wrong with the Freebie cups, they're great, but they're $80. It's a lot. So here's a little hack for you. Get those Spectra cups and you can get them a lot cheaper. The last thing I want to say as far as pumping woes go is any day that you're able to feed your baby breast milk is amazing. Do not feel like you have to get to 6 months, or that you have to get to 12 months, or that you have this particular amount of time in order for things to go as planned. Whatever you give your baby is a gift to your baby. And if you can't give them anything, if you try your best to pump and you are not producing, that's okay. You are still amazing and great and providing for your child. So don't ever feel like what you're doing is not enough. It is 100% enough, whatever it is you're doing. I hope some of these tips were helpful for you, especially if you're a new mom and you're lost in the pumping world. Some of these things I figure would be really helpful. It would have been helpful for me to know when I first started pumping. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing and sticking around. I will be doing all sorts of motherhood, pregnancy, and pumping product comparisons too once I have my newborn and I'm able to kind of compare some of these cups. I appreciate you watching and I will see you next time. Take care.